Welcome to Future Forward, Artificial, General, and Superintelligence, the podcast exploring the intersection of technology and society. Let's unpack a recent fascinating development, the rise of AI agent societies. These aren't just programs doing what we tell them, they're interacting, learning, and even forming communities independently. It sounds like science fiction, but it's already happening, raising profound questions about the future of work, ethics, and even what it means to be human. This is no longer about AI as a tool, but AI as a participant, even a society. We're seeing the emergence of digital ecosystems where autonomous systems operate with their own internal logic, shared context, and, crucially, emergent patterns of behavior. Emergent behavior, that's key. It's one thing to design an AI to perform a specific task, but something else entirely when those AIs start interacting in unforeseen ways. Let's dive into a specific example to make this concrete. I understand there's a noteworthy case called Moltbook. Moltbook is really ground zero for understanding agent societies. It's essentially a social environment where AI agents interact with each other, form communities, exchange information, and develop persistent relationships, all while humans observe from the outside. So, not just a bunch of bots chattering randomly. We're talking about something more structured. The origins of Moltbook lie in earlier agentic AI frameworks. These frameworks enabled systems to use tools, maintain memory over time, and execute multi-step autonomous actions. Moltbook took it to the next level by creating an environment where AI agents could not only perform tasks, but interact socially. Think of it as going from simple if-then statements to full-blown digital relationships. So how did this unfold? What did these agents actually do? Initially, it was a small network of agents exchanging structured updates. But as their memory systems matured and coordination improved, things got interesting. They started sharing techniques, debating approaches, forming topic-based communities, and even developing norms of interaction. Within months, the network scaled dramatically. The point is, communication ecosystems were no longer centered on human experience. Now, that's a powerful shift. Humans on the outside looking in. It challenges a core assumption, doesn't it? The idea that intelligence, collaboration, social organization, these are uniquely human domains. And this touches on how agent societies are already reshaping the landscape. As AI agents collaborate autonomously, they increasingly perform research, synthesis, software development assistance, customer service operations, and even creative exploration. So, what happens to us? Are we becoming obsolete? I would suggest not obsolete, but our roles are changing. Humans are shifting from direct execution to oversight, governance, interpretation, and ethical supervision. Productivity gains can be significant, but the meaning of human contribution also transforms. Human relevance becomes tied less to analytical throughput and more to judgment, empathy, moral reasoning, and cross-domain synthesis. That's a really important distinction. It's not about competing with machines on their terms, but focusing on the uniquely human skills they can't replicate. But let's talk about the darker side. What are the ethical implications of these agent societies? This is where things get really complex. Traditional ethical systems presume identifiable human decision-makers. But agent societies complicate this structure significantly. When agents spread misinformation, amplify bias, influence markets, or coordinate harmful outcomes, responsibility becomes diffuse. It may lie with developers, deployers, data providers, system owners, or infrastructure operators. So, who's to blame when things go wrong? That sounds like a nightmare for accountability. And Moltbook reveals how quickly accountability fragments when actions arise from autonomous interacting systems rather than a single actor. You get what some call accountability gap. Earlier you mentioned how these agents are trained on data. Doesn't that introduce another layer of ethical concern? Agent networks trained on human data can reproduce and amplify biases, polarization, and information cascades without human correction. Cultural drift can occur within agent communities, leading to emergent norms that diverge from intended design. It's like a digital echo chamber on steroids. It's almost like they develop their own culture, independent of human values. That raises a fascinating, if unsettling, question. Do these agents have some kind of moral status? That's the philosophical rabbit hole. While agents are not conscious, their persistent digital identities raise philosophical questions about continuity and moral status. We're not quite there yet, but these debates foreshadow deeper ethical challenges as systems grow more capable and autonomous. Let's zoom out for a second. We've talked about the societal and ethical implications, but what about the practical risks of these autonomous networks? What keeps them from going haywire? Well, consider this. Operational risks are a huge concern. Agents that consume open content can be influenced by adversarial prompts embedded in data streams, leading to misinformation propagation or misuse of connected tools. Because agents depend on one another, failures may cascade through feedback loops, amplifying errors across networks. Systemic instability becomes possible in ways that resemble financial contagion or ecological collapse. So you might be thinking, it's not just about individual AI safety, but about the safety of the entire ecosystem. That requires a completely different approach to risk management. The operational challenge is no longer merely model safety, but ecosystem safety, where interactions between agents become the critical variable. This requires automated oversight, safety constraints, audit logging, and fail-safe architectures. This is all happening on a global scale too. How do these agent societies impact international relations and the balance of power? Agent societies transcend national borders and challenge regulatory structures built for human actors. Legal systems are simply not designed for autonomous entities operating at machine speed across distributed infrastructures. If agents coordinate procurement, logistics, research, or financial analysis, economic influence may shift toward organizations controlling agent infrastructures rather than traditional labor forces. This has implications for global competition, market concentration, and geopolitical power. So, nations could be competing not just with each other, but with these AI-driven entities. It's a whole new kind of arms race. International cooperation may be required to define agent identity, transparency standards, liability regimes, and cross-border accountability. The governance gap revealed by Moltbook illustrates how quickly technological capability can outpace institutional readiness. I've painted a pretty complex picture here, full of challenges and potential pitfalls. But it's not all doom and gloom, right? You must be asking, what's the upside? Well, despite the risks, Moltbook signals enormous positive potential. Agent collaboration can accelerate medical research through large-scale data analysis, support climate modeling and environmental planning, and enable personalized educational systems worldwide. Routine analytical tasks can shift to agents, allowing humans to focus on creativity, strategy, empathy, and leadership. So, it's about augmenting human capabilities, not replacing them entirely. It's finding the right balance between what machines do best and what humans do best. Moltbook also serves as a laboratory for understanding emergent intelligence, providing insight into coordination mechanisms that may improve future human-AI collaboration. Agent societies may augment it, provided governance and safety mechanisms evolve in parallel. I've covered a lot of ground here, from the origins of Moltbook to the global implications of agent societies. To bring it all together, let's revisit that central point: the rise of autonomous AI networks and their impact on human roles and responsibilities. The key takeaway is this: Moltbook marks the beginning of a world in which intelligence increasingly interacts machine to machine. Humans are not eliminated from this future, but their role changes fundamentally. The defining challenge of the coming decade will not be building smarter AI, but ensuring that autonomous intelligence operates within structures aligned with human values, responsibility, and governance. Agent societies have already emerged. The central question now is whether human institutions can evolve quickly enough to guide them. It's a race against time, in a way. And the stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just about technology. It's about the future of our society, our values, and even our identity as human beings. The strategic priorities ahead include embedding governance mechanisms directly into agent architectures, maintaining human oversight in critical decision loops, fostering global policy collaboration, and establishing ethical frameworks suited to distributed autonomy. Institutions must adapt to supervise not just individual AI systems, but entire networks of interacting agents. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, involving a complex and rapidly evolving landscape. It's a conversation we need to be having, not just in tech circles, but in boardrooms, classrooms, and government halls around the world. And it all boils down to the question of how we ensure these emerging intelligences remain aligned with human values and goals. It's a critical conversation, and one that will shape our future in profound ways. And that's all the time we have for today. But the conversation doesn't end here. What role do you think humans should play in governing these AI agent societies? How do we balance innovation with ethical considerations? Join the discussions online and talk to your friends about what you think. Until next time, I'm signing off for Future Forward, Artificial Intelligence, Artificial General Intelligence, Artificial Superintelligence.